Support comes from St. Louis Public Library Foundation, helping the library serve children and their families with programs and services needed to become lifelong readers. More information about the foundation is at slpl.org.
From the St. Louis Public Radio Newsroom, this is The Gateway. I'm Abby Larico. It's Tuesday, September 16th. That means sports betting is expected to start in Missouri in 76 days, on December 1st. Some frequent and casual gamblers are counting down. But on the other hand, some mental health advocates are worried that the accessibility of online betting will worsen consequences for problem gamblers.
With sports betting, you'll be able to place a bet from your bedroom, your living room chair, your car in the parking lot, on break at work, literally any time of the day or night.
St. Louis Public Radio's Olivia Mizelle digs into the impact this could have, coming up after this news on The Gateway. Clayton police say they need help from the public identifying a person of interest in a fire that's being investigated as a hate crime. The department released 2 videos of the person taken at different times in the 7500 block of Westmoreland Avenue. In both videos, the person is wearing dark-colored shoes with a light sole. In the second video, they're carrying a white bag across their chest. No one was injured in the August 5th fire, which appears to have been deliberately set and damaged 3 vehicles. Investigators also found what they called anti-Semitic graffiti at the scene. Some members of the Jewish community have pushed back on the classification. They say the graffiti targeted the Israeli military, not Judaism. Oral arguments begin today in a free speech lawsuit filed by a Palestinian student group against the University of Missouri. Celisa Kalakal has more.
Mizzou Students for Justice in Palestine sued University System President Moon Choi in federal court last month. Their lawsuit alleges that Choi violated the group's First Amendment rights when he prohibited them from participating in last year's homecoming parade. Choi cited safety concerns surrounding Students for Justice in Palestine events around the country, but the lawsuit argues he denied the Mizzou group because of their views on Israel and Palestine. The student group is being represented by the Washington-based Council on American Islamic Relations. They're looking for monetary damages, and they want the university to allow them to participate in this year's parade. I'm Celisa Kalakal.
The St. Louis sheriff has returned a second gun that 2 Central West End residents pointed at protesters in 2020. Mark McCloskey posted on the social media platform X that he had gone to the courthouse on September 4th to collect the pistol. He had previously gotten back a rifle from the St. Louis Police Department. McCloskey and his wife were forced to surrender the firearms after pleading guilty to misdemeanors. The charges were later expunged, and McCloskey sued to get the weapons back. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker says he and his family do feel safe despite escalating political threats. And he credits the Illinois State Police for providing him with round-the-clock security, but the governor says he has received a, quote, enormous increase in threats over the last few days.
I would like very much for people to just take a breath, take a step back, and recognize that there's political violence that occurs against people on both sides. Our country would be a lot better off if people would see that democracy is really the method by which we avoid political violence.
A day after conservative activist Charlie Kirk was fatally shot, an alt-right influencer filmed himself outside of Pritzker's Chicago home. He called Pritzker a problem and told viewers to, quote, take action. Missouri Senator Josh Hawley is suggesting ICE use Fort Leonard Wood. Hawley sent a letter to Director of Homeland Security Kristi Noem recommending the base 30 miles west of Rolla be used to train and organize agents for the Trump administration's deportation program. Fort Leonard Wood houses military police training units for both the Army and the Marines, and Hawley says that would make it an ideal place to train ICE agents. Representatives at Fort Leonard Wood did not immediately respond to a request for comment on Hawley's suggestion. HSHS St. Elizabeth's in O'Fallon, Illinois, has begun a $116 million project that officials say will keep patients from crossing the river for care. The health system plans to double the capacity of the emergency room and add 32 inpatient beds to its main building just north of Interstate 64. It's also adding a building to house medical specialties and outpatient procedures. St. Elizabeth's president and CEO, Chris Clay, says an estimated 9,000 patients each year travel to St. Louis from the Metro East for treatment.
And it really does boil down to access. We have to create easy access for our patients, and we believe that these investments will do that.
Clay says the Metro East population is getting older and will need more hospital services in the coming decade. A new housing development in East St. Louis is already at capacity. St. Louis Public Radio's Will Bauer reports the church behind the 38 apartments and townhomes believes the project will be a stepping stone toward the Metro East town's revival.
The new housing development is called Winstanley Park, named after the neighborhood. In all, it cost $13 million. It was funded by state and local money, all funneled through the Mount Sinai Development Corporation. That's an economic development arm of a prominent Baptist church in town. Executive Director Dennis Jackson says a lengthy wait list shows there's a demand for affordable housing.
It clearly says that people want to live here. We're trying to just do something to bring back what was. Yeah, having a 100-person waiting list really speaks for itself.
The 38 units will primarily serve families who earn less than 60% of the area's median income. In the St. Louis Metro, that's about $67,000. In East St. Louis, I'm Will Bauer, St. Louis Public Radio.
The Rung for Women training program recently welcomed its 9th cohort. The organization is helping women obtain the skills needed for careers in advanced manufacturing and geospatial sectors. STLPR's Lucretia Wembley has more from a forklift certification training in East St. Louis.
Sabrina Betts is wearing a pink hard hat as she backs up a forklift at Southwestern Illinois College. It's the final part of training to gain certification through the Rung for Women program.
What we did today with the forklift certification, those show me that I'm even more capable than I thought. The confidence I've gained through this experience has just been absolutely life-changing.
Rung has assisted over 600 women since it was founded in 2017. The group accepts female applicants ages 25 and up and those earning $50,000 or less annually. I'm Lucretia Wembley, St. Louis Public Radio.
Sports betting was legalized in Missouri by an extremely narrow margin last November. But licensing and regulation requirements mean it won't be active until December 1st. Still, some mental health advocates are already concerned about the impact its impending availability will have on gambling addiction in the state. St. Louis Public Radio's Olivia Mizelle reports.
DraftKings Sportsbook is coming soon to Missouri. New customers sign up today and score $300 in bonus bets.
As December 1st approaches, online gambling platforms like DraftKings have started advertising their sportsbooks online, on TV, and on billboards.
I think people are more aware of the gambling advertising for where you can gamble than they are of where you can get help.
That's Keith Spare, a retired gambling addiction counselor and current chair and member of multiple problem gambling prevention organizations in Missouri. The Missouri Alliance to Curb Problem Gambling, which Spare chairs, does its own advertising.
Not everyone recognizes they might have a gambling problem.
Even if advertising is increased, gambling-specific mental health treatment in Missouri is hard to come by. In 2021, one of the state's last compulsive gambling treatment programs ended. Daniel Smith was the clinical director for the Bet No More gambling programs at Assessment and Counseling Solutions in St. Louis. The program, offered at no cost to Missouri residents, ended when he retired. He says it was the last of about 6 similar programs in Missouri.
The state of treatment in Missouri, I hope, will change.
He says there are state-funded counselors available and some are trained to counsel gamblers, but resources are sparse. One provider that does offer problem gambling-specific services is nationwide online therapy service Kindbridge. Founder and CEO Daniel Umfleet says he started the company because he found a lack of problem gambling treatment across the country.
Just kind of kept coming up with a big ocean of nothing in the middle of the country with some consolidation of care providers on the coasts and not a lot of them.
Kindbridge has seen 30 Missouri residents in the past year. Umfleet says there may not be an extreme increase in people sports betting because some will move from the illegal market to the legal market. Spare agrees. He says he thinks numbers likely won't go up too much, but the consequences will be more severe and happen faster because of how easily accessible mobile sports betting will become.
With sports betting, you'll be able to place a bet from your bedroom, your living room chair, your car in the parking lot, on break at work, literally any time of the day or night.
Smith of the Bet No More program is a former gambler himself and says the ease of being able to place a bet at home would likely have worsened the severity of his gambling. More than 60% of Missouri adults gamble, and Spare says 1 in 5 meet the criteria for gambling addiction. These numbers come from a 2022 Kansas City study. The study also found that among problem gamblers, 27.5 either attempted or considered suicide. Missouri Gaming Commission Chair Jan Zimmerman says she was impressed that online betting platforms have features like cooling off periods and self-exclusion built in.
I was really pleased to hear that, the industry pays a lot of attention to folks, who may feel like they have an issue or they have a problem.
But Smith says in his experience with clients, the gambling industry does not have the consumer's best interest at heart.
The prevention activities that both casinos and online platforms have are put there to give the illusion of good citizenship.
Umfleet says there's a perception that sports betting is less harmful than other forms of gambling because it's more skills-based. But there are still many uncontrollable variables that can lead to addiction and consequences. I'm Olivia Mizelle, St. Louis Public Radio.
Our Fred Ehrlich edited that piece. The Gateway is a production of St. Louis Public Radio, a listener-supported service of the University of Missouri St. Louis. Music by Ryan McNeely of Adult Fur. I'm Abby Larico, and from the St. Louis Public Radio newsroom, thanks for listening to The Gateway.